what happens here this year of 2004, this summer of 2004, maybe you'll remember that.
Granby, Colorado, a quiet mountain town of just 2,000 people. For years, Marvin Heemeyer called this place home. A skilled welder and mechanic, he made his living fixing cars and heavy equipment from a small workshop he built himself. It wasn't much, but it was his. Next to his property stood the Mountain Park Cement Plant. In the early 2000s, the plant announced plans to expand, buying up nearby land to make room for a new processing line. One by one, they acquired every lot they needed, except Marvin's. From here, the story splits into two versions. One says the plant offered him $250,000 for his land. At first, he seemed willing to negotiate, but then raised the price, first to $400,000, then to over $1 million. The other version, the one Marvin's supporters believe, says he never intended to sell at any price, and that the plant, along with powerful local figures, decided to push him out by other means. Whether through coincidence or coordination, things began to turn against him. His main road to the shop was suddenly blocked. Marvin, determined to keep going, bought a bulldozer and planned to cut a new path himself. But the town denied his permit. Soon after, banks started checking through his old mortgage paperwork, threatening to take his home away. Inspectors from the tax office, fire department, and health authorities arrived repeatedly and issuing fines every way possible. One fine alone was $3,000. Marvin was fined for not connecting to the town's sewer system. The catch? The land where the sewer line needed to run belonged to the cement plant, which refused to give him access. Marvin kept fighting. He went to the court, argued his case, wrote letters, but every door closed in his face.
But it was not God's will that they do what they did to me. That was man's will. That was their will. And, it's effective.
And then came the blow that broke him. His father passed away. Marvin left town to attend the funeral. While he was gone, his shop's electricity and water were shut off by authorities. When he returned, cold and alone, he knew the fight had changed. It was no longer just about land. It was about pride and survival.
In nature, a male will definitely protect his territory. If he doesn't, he'll be overrun. If an animal will do this, why wouldn't a man?
In secret, inside his workshop, Marvin began working on something. He took a massive Komatsu D355A bulldozer, a machine already built for brute force, and began armoring it. Steel plates were welded around the entire body, with the gaps between them filled solid with concrete. This sandwich of metal and stone made the walls so strong that it could withstand rifle fire, armor-piercing rounds, even explosives. Every weak point was sealed. The cabin windows were replaced with bulletproof viewing ports made of laminated plexiglass, each backed with a layer of steel. For vision, Marvin installed multiple cameras around the dozer, wired to monitors inside. Even those cameras were protected behind 3 inches of bullet-resistant plastic. Inside the cockpit, he fitted an air filtration system, a cooling unit, food and water supplies, and a stash of tools. Once he climbed inside, a crane lowered the final steel plate into place, sealing him in. There would be no way in, and no way out. By June 2004, the machine was ready. On the afternoon of June 4th, at exactly 2:30 p.m., Marvin rolled out of the shop for the first time.
Looks like a bulldozer went crazy.
His first destination was the cement plant. The walls stood no chance. In minutes, storage buildings, offices, and equipment yards were reduced to rubble. Then Marvin turned towards town. He struck the bank that had pressed him over his mortgage. Then, office of the local newspaper that had printed stories against him. utility buildings, warehouses, city hall, even private homes linked to town officials. He destroyed everything in his way, and yet through it all, law enforcement scrambled. At first, local deputies tried with sidearms and shotguns. Nothing happened. Rifles, armor-piercing rounds, even small explosives, all failed. More than 200 bullets hits. But the Killdozer's armor shrugged it off. As the Killdozer pushed deeper into town, an officer managed to climb onto the moving machine. He reached one of the vents and tried to drop in a grenade. It went off. But when the smoke cleared, the bulldozer kept moving, completely unharmed. At one point, a massive industrial tractor was driven in to block his path. The two machines met head-on, but the Killdozer rammed forward, shoving the tractor aside like it was a toy. As the destruction continued, the town's mayor seriously considered calling in the National Guard, even requesting an airstrike. But police and state officers argued it could make things far worse, and the idea was abandoned. For more than 2 hours, Killdozer rolled through town. Finally, Marvin turned toward Gamble's, the local hardware store. He drove straight into it, but as the walls gave way, the roof collapsed onto the Killdozer. Debris wedged between the dozer's tracks and the ground. The engine roared, and then went silent. Officers surrounded the machine. Marvin was still in there, but they waited more than 2 hours before attempting entry. When they finally cut their way inside, Marvin was gone. In total, the damage topped $7 million. The cement plant was running again in just 10 days. The rest of the town rebuilt in the months that followed. As for the Killdozer, it was dismantled, piece by piece, to ensure it would never become a symbol. Some remember Marvin as a reckless man who destroyed what others had built. Others see him as a man who was cornered, worn down, and decided to fight back in the only way he knew how. And history will always remember the machine he built, the one-of-a-kind Killdozer.
Hello, my name is Marvin Heemeyer. This tape is about my wife. I want to say right now, God bless me in advance for the task that I am about to undertake. And the world will write stories about how wrong I am. And without a doubt, I wish it could be done a different way. But there is no way to make this right. You picked on the wrong man. You put yourself in my shoes and tell me how you would feel realizing that you've wasted 10 years of your life because of someone's malice. People will say, why did he do that? You took advantage of my good nature. Well, I think there's something you should learn here. For as good as a man can be, also can he be as bad. When you visit evil upon someone, be assured it will revisit you. It's enough. You people needed to be taught a lesson.